Sensationally silver, because you are.
Welcome, everyone, to Sensationally Silver, A State of Mind, conversations with extraordinary, ordinary persons of age, people who are going to bring you information, inspiration, and validation. Join us. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sensationally Silver, A State of Mind, conversations with extraordinary, ordinary persons of age. My guest today is someone I've had as a guest many times. She's one of my favorite people in the world, Julia Loggins. And often Julia and I are talking about health issues. Today, we're talking about health issues, not from the inside, which is where Julia has tons of expertise, but kind of on the outside, the environment and how we navigate it. Welcome, Julia.
Welcome. I'm so happy to be here.
So I know that you came up with this subject. You said we need to talk about falling. So tell our audience why that's so important for persons of age.
For persons of age, falling is one of the number one causes that leads to death. It leads to not just the end of our lives, but a severe limitation of our movement, our freedom, our mobility. And not because we necessarily hit our head and expire immediately, but because of the challenges to our bones and joints that it represents. And it is so incredibly common. And at a certain point in time, a fall can really lead to imminent issues that elderly people don't recover from as well or as fast, and in some cases, not at all. But because so much of this is preventable, and because I recently had a fall that taught me a lot about this subject, this last spring, I thought it would be really important for all of us. And I also remember my mom dealing with falls towards the end of her life. It's such a common issue. And there's things in life we can't prevent, but there are things we can prevent. And then when they happen to us, if we know what to do and how to heal, we can come out stronger and more resilient.
And that's what we want because
Yeah,
we're probably going to fall. I mean, I just fell the other day.
we are probably going to fall. And that's really a great place to start, which is we are probably going to fall. So, I'm going to talk about what I've learned about how to deal with that, how to minimize the effect of it when we do, and some simple things, and then the healing process. Because as you said, we're going to fall.
Yep, we do.
That's always been true. We fell as little kids, we were falling 30 times a day, but we were little rubber bands. And even if we actually had pretty bad falls, we healed really fast. Bones heal really fast. And that, if for people who are athletes, that probably continued through 20s and 30s, but the impact of what happens to us when we fall really changes dramatically after 60.
Right. We all know that. I know every time I fall, if I can get up again, which so far I've been able to do, I'm so grateful.
Yes.
All right. So, Julia, tell us more.
Okay, so I want to start with in something that I was thinking of sharing for later, but you had such a great lead in, which is that you've always been able to get up when you fall. But for anyone out there who lives alone, no matter how independent and resilient, strong-minded, and stubborn you are, all of these things describe most of us, because that's what has given us the grit and grace to get this far. Where if you don't, you may think you're going to have your phone close, but if you have some kind of necklace, bracelet, or card that can click into an emergency service, it can be really important. That my mom had a necklace that she really argued over wearing. There's a million companies that sell them. AARP has some connections to some really inexpensive that sometimes Medicare will pay for, but this is a very inexpensive service. If you fall and you can't get up, you click it and you'll get an emergency service. My mom, I think honestly, if she couldn't get up, she would get so excited about the really cute firemen that were going to come and get her up. And so the whole thing became, oh, that cool guy is going to come and pick me up. And often that might be all she needed. It wasn't necessarily a trip to the hospital, but that's something I learned is really important. And because most of us struggle with the idea of what that means in our head, if we think of it as the key to our freedom rather than a sign that we're just old, decrepit people, I think reframing every tool that helps us stay strong and healthy as something that can assure our freedom and independence might help all of us.
So, attitude has everything to do with how we deal with this phase of life. And of course, the accidents that happen.
Yeah.
Julia, is there a factor in how long we stay on the ground if we can't get up?
I would say the truth is for these services, you're not charged per thing. So I would say don't hesitate. If you just don't feel like yourself, especially because there may be other medical issues that have preceded it, a blood sugar issue, a blood pressure issue, a low sodium issue, which is phenomenally common. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about things like low blood sugar, low sodium. People don't talk about that a lot, but I had a client fall because of low sodium last week, and that is really under recognized. I'm going to talk about the signs of it. So I would say don't hesitate. It's sort of like how you would treat yourself if you were a parent. Like when we were parents of little children, we were kind of always eh, judging ourselves for overreacting. I remember taking my little baby to the ER when I thought, I mean, Luke was like 2 months old, that I thought he had some raging fever, but I just took his temperature wrong. But they were so kind to me at the ER, and they said, never ever make yourself guilty for overreacting. So we do that as parents, and then we judge ourselves, but it's nature. We do the opposite when we're older because we get so stubborn and we're saying to ourselves, I'm okay, I can do this. And we either may not be as okay as we think we are, or why not ask for help? Like, that's one thing that I want to really make clear out loud to me, to you, to people. You and I are two people that are so used to doing things for ourselves. That's what's made all of us and all of our audience strong. So this is your permission slip to ask for help is a sign of strength and not weakness. It's a sign of self-confidence and self-respect, and actually care for not only ourselves, but the people we love, because everyone who loves us really worries about us. And if they know we are going to care for ourselves the way we cared for them when they were little, it just relaxes everybody.
Yeah, that's such a key. If I know that someone is going to take care of themselves, I don't have to worry about taking care of them.
Yeah, exactly.
You're saying is so true, Julia. We have gotten up over and over. We have made it through over and over. So that's in our mindset. This can't be that big a deal. I always am able to survive this. But as we get older, things do change. The body isn't as efficient as it used to be.
Not. Bones break so much more easily. And when you fall and your adrenaline kicks in, you override immediate sensations. So you may have hurt yourself worse than you think. And you know what? Maybe it's all better. No problem. There's no problem to like having it all come out better. But really, what I've learned and what I've learned from my friends and my clients, it is kind of surprising when we fall, how much worse we hurt ourselves than we originally think. And that is, and occasionally it comes out better. That's a blessing. But because we're just more fragile. Our spirit isn't more fragile. That's the crazy thing. We're actually stronger. We're more capable. We have a much bigger bandwidth in so many areas. And when it comes to our body, it's hard to imagine. And that's why if we can just reframe this whole chunk of time together as allowing all of us to reframe the fragility of our body as not a weakness, but it's just the reality of this moment, and being honest about it is a statement of strength. Just like when we were younger and in our, it probably took most of us, for me, I'm a late bloomer, like my 20s, I was just insecure about everything. And even things I was good at, I was insecure about. But by the time I got older, one of my strengths, and yours as well, because I know you so well, you are so clear about what you're not good at. And you and you don't hold that with any judgment. That's a sign of maturity and wisdom. So it's a sign of maturity and wisdom to hold the, and people who are really successful in life are super neutral about the things that they're not good at, and they delegate them right away. There's not like a lot of judgment around it. They wouldn't be successful because it takes time to judge. So we want to develop that same skill around our bodies at this point in life, because it could save not just our lives, but our freedom. That's what I really want us to see this as. We are protecting our freedom, our our ability to be fully present with as much physical capacity as possible by caring for ourselves in the ways we're going to talk about.
Julia, I think what you're saying is so important because I believe that many people, as they get older, they're not as afraid of dying as they are of being incapacitated.
Well, that's true for me.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I don't want that to be the case. I don't mind leaving, but I don't want to be stuck in a wheelchair.
We don't want to stick the people we love with us in an incapacitated state, physically, mentally, in any way. And that's so this is something that we're doing for not just for ourselves, but for the people who love and care about us. It can come out so much better than it may appear in the moment if we just adhere to a few simple things.
Okay, what are they? What do we need to do?
When you get, I was taught this by a dear friend, since departed on her own terms, um, when I was falling at some point in my life. And I've always been clumsy, which is, it's just part of, I don't know, maybe I'm just not really in my body most of the time and I move quickly. So I've always been somebody that falls, the perfect thing for me to talk about today. But my dear friend said to me, when you wake up in the morning, now that you're getting older, put good shoes on. And you can take them off later in the yard and walk around barefoot. We love that. We love feet in grass. But when you wake up in the morning, and we are not as steady as we used to be first thing in the morning, um, for many reasons. People have broken up sleep. There's all kinds of things that aren't just perfect going on in our body. We're sort of recalibrating, being here another day. Put good shoes on. And that isn't necessarily, I love slippers, but this may not be the moment for slippers. I actually have my slip-on, very great orthopedic type shoes, and they're just slip-ons now. I love slip-ons. And they make slip-ons in really high quality, good fitting. I just slip right into them. And because falls getting out of bed are really common. And I think it has to do with the fact that as we get older, it takes a moment for all of our body parts and our brain to engage in the morning, or when we lie down for a nap or any other time. So if you're a person who used to just pop out of bed and put on kind of flimsy slippers, it's a time when people fall. It's just this, and it sort of is a moment of consciousness too. When I do that and I put those shoes on, I'm also saying, Julia, get present, take a breath, be in your body. And that is so important as we get older. Life becomes more and more of a meditative practice. And being present isn't just a spiritual, emotional quality. We have to be present because our bones and our joints are less forgiving. After all, it's phenomenal we're even all alive at these ages, right? Our grandparents and great grandparents and ancestors, people did not live this long. So, I mean, it's phenomenal. We are so amazing to all be here. Therefore, we have to be even more present that our bodies and our joints that weren't necessarily designed to live 70 and 80 and 90 years are here. So first thing in the morning, take a breath, be present.
You know what you're saying, Julia, in a way, I'm translating it in my own mind to being respectful of me as a person, of this body and all the years it served me. I know I wake up feeling like I need to reach for WD-40. I mean, the joints are just so, and it gets better. But
Yeah.
that time, you're so right. That time when we get out of bed it's kind of a dangerous time in a way.
Falls commonly happen at that moment. And it is a dangerous time. And actually, instead of what I really loved about this experience of healing my fall, and it did turn out that I hurt myself way worse than I thought. And it was not a very big fall. I've had so many falls, and I've had many falls off horses, as you know. But this was a little fall, so it taught me a lot. I twisted my back, and when I ended up discovering that I needed a new hip down the road, and my doctor looked at my x-rays and he said, "Oh, you are an equestrian, aren't you? Because your falls are all over your back." I had been so angry at myself and judging myself for how badly hurt I got in this silly fall, how much pain I was in, and how much it disrupted my life. And at that moment, it all changed. I felt such enormous gratitude for a body that carried me through my life, all the things I've done, all the crazy things I've done, all the wonderful things this body allowed me to do. And it was all on my back on that x-ray. But you know what? Here I was. I walked right into his doctor's office that day. I didn't crawl. I mean, I might have felt like I wanted to crawl, but I was like, "Julia, you've been so mean to your body. If somebody talked to your body, if you heard someone talk to their body the way you've been talking to your body, you would have just walked over to them, taken their face in your hands and said, 'Don't trash talk that body. Your precious body has gotten you so far.'" And it really shifted, not my pain or anything else, but how mean I had been to myself, and also how bad I had felt about this situation. And it reframed it, and I just felt like so much respect. And I feel like since then, I have allowed myself more time, more care, more presence, more tools around my daily life. And it is more of a meditation. I re-examined my schedule, what I think I can do and can't do. I'm more outspoken about it. Some people are a little disappointed about that. They sort of liked, because those of us who are strong and always represented ourselves as superheroes to ourselves, and everyone kind of expects it because that's what made us feel good about ourselves. So I've had to reframe that a little bit. I have more emotional capacity than I used to. I am actually able to be present for more people than I used to, in more ways than I used to. Physically, not so much. But that's okay. That's okay. There's always someone to carry something. People love us. They want to help us. So let me say that to everyone. The people who love you want to help you, and they want to know specifically how you need help. But maybe some of us never stop to think about, what might I need? And so shoes in the morning, that's something really important. Take a moment, go slow. The next one Kathleen taught me is to look around your house. Wires, anything that you can trip over. I've tripped over a dog toy. That's how I fell. So now when I walk into a room, I literally do this. I look all around the room. Is there anything I could fall over? Because you know what? If there is, I will. I will. If there is, I will. And maybe in my younger days, some part of my vision superseded me and it guided me around it, or my balance guided me around it, or maybe I sort of slipped, but I stayed upright. Okay, I don't take that for granted anymore. I survey the room like a little detective. That's okay.
Yeah.
And she said, be really ruthless about this. And if it means people come over and change the way a cord is or something like that, look at things, that's really important. And then the next piece, which is so important, is exercise and movement. And the things that they teach us that help us stay balanced, which means we fall less. And when we do, we don't fall as hard. And that means learning movement skills that stabilize our balance. And I'll talk about those in a minute, but I want you to jump in.
Well, I'm just realizing because I'm remembering a long time ago when I had an injury that other people tend to, I had to have some surgery, and most people get over it in 6 weeks. It took me 3 years to recover from this same injury. I learned a ton, but the most important thing that I learned from that, because it wasn't the case, was I needed to make friends with my body. When
Oh,
my body was letting me down, and this had to do with being able to move and walk and everything, I was so angry and so resentful. And I had to completely change my attitude and become not only friends with my body, but so grateful and so appreciative. And what I'm hearing, Julia, is you're saying just make that even bigger because your body needs more friendship, more respect, more care at this stage of life than it did before. We don't bounce back. We don't bounce. I mean, that's the problem.
oh,
Kids bounce
bounce.
like rubber bands, like
Yep.
as you said, or rubber balls. We don't. We don't. We kind of go splat. So
Yep.
the kindness and the respect and real affection for this vehicle that has served us so well and is still trying to serve us.
And also, we're modeling that for the younger people in our lives. And what I know about myself is I didn't mean to, because I was just either surviving or trying to always do my best and overcompensate and all the things that codependents do and all of that stuff. But, I modeled a lot of just always going 150% for everything. And so what I see my kids deal with is shockingly, because it's not like I'm the overachiever of the world in the worldly sense, but every single day, the amount of things I had on my to-do list that I beat myself up over not doing, there was always more I thought I should be being or doing. And I gave that to my kids as a template of life. So if there's nothing more I can give them at this moment, then what I want to do by modeling it, not just by saying it, but by living it, is, you know what? So maybe take a look at that to-do list and cross half of it off. Every single thing I want to model, like we are now elders, we are models. Even if our kids and grandkids don't appear to be looking, they are. We know this is true. And all the mentees we have in our lives, all the people who look up to us, which is more than any of us can even imagine. They're looking to us for how to do life. So we think now we're really letting them down by how little we're accomplishing, how slow we're moving, how protective we are. No, this is the gift we're giving them and ourselves. And when I think of it that way, it makes it easier for me.
It comes back to that respect again,
Yeah.
having that respect for ourselves and then modeling it, which is so much more powerful than saying it.
Yeah, it's yes. And you and I, we know that. We know that saying it, doesn't mean as much as being it, even giving it all we can. Some days obviously better than others, and making jokes about it, bringing a lot of humor to it, because it's a pretty hilarious time of life. Everything is hilarious. And we have to make it that way and make it something everybody can joke about. My husband, um, and I think this may be true, especially of men of our generation. I see my son doing a better job with this because there's more grace. Our kids have a strong, bigger basket of emotional intelligence. We are evolving as a species. Doesn't always appear that way, but we really are. So men of our generation really have a tough time with this. So for the men out there, I can tell you that everything I have said today, my husband struggles with so much. He really struggles with measuring what he can and can't do physically as a measure of his worth. I really see this now he was in the trades where, although as an electrician, it wasn't that he was building big beams, but he loved making things. But it doesn't matter. His friends who were business people, their sense of judgment around their aging is enormous. And they make it really hard on the people they love to tell the truth about where they are, to be present with where they are. So if you're a woman and this resonates for you because your husband or partner or brother is driving you nuts because they are not recognizing the reality of the moment, I get it. I get it. And if you're a man, I I see it every day in the men I work with and love. And I'm hoping that it's something that shifts because our physical strength is not actually a measure of our worth. It's interesting that I hear generals from armies talk about really struggling with this, but grasping it in a different way. I mean, the samurai culture really had a whole beautiful tradition of holding elders in an esteemed way that had nothing anymore no longer to do with their physical strength and stamina. The samurai culture really had a place for this so that aging men did not actually beat themselves up in the way our culture, the men do. Um, so for men, this is a struggle. And for women, I'm not saying it isn't, but our bodies have been changing our whole lives. We've gone through so many this is like another one. Um, and we've had a lot more experience with transitions. So all we can do is just be strong, be grateful, tell the truth, and be willing to tell the truth to our friends. One of the things I adored about a dear elderly friend of mine who's now passed is she said, when you see me doing something I shouldn't be doing, please tell me. If you see me forgetting something or repeating something, please tell me. I may not be aware of it, and I will fix it if you help me. Can how much how brilliant was that? How kind was that?
Asking for help, just
Yeah,
simply asking for help and
yeah.
recognizing that it's not a failure to require that at this point.
No. And then maybe our kids will allow themselves to ask for help way sooner than we did. And we are all here to help each other. What else are we here for? To love, help each other, connect to each other. And actually, if we can do that, then we actually earn our independence. Because if we don't do these things, we are very likely to end up in a condition that is extremely not independent. That's what none of us want, is to be very dependent. So all of these things are really just tools as foundations for our independence.
You know what, Julia? We are almost out of time.
Oh,
And we haven't gotten to the very practical part. So this is going to turn into a two-part series
okay.
because we've been talking about the philosophy of dealing with your body, especially about dealing with falling, but really the whole attitude that we have toward this body that's aging, making friends with it, respecting it, appreciating it, and really having respect for its limitations and allowing that to influence how we behave and let our loved ones off the hook. We are going to pay attention. And if we need their help to do that, we're asking for that as well.
And they'll be thrilled to help us because they know that they may have technical tools, all those tools that they're so also good at. And then they get to be a part of it, which is a relief for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so much more uncomfortable to be worrying on behalf of someone else and knowing that they aren't than to realize that they're going to invite us to help them.
Yeah.
So next time, Julia,
Okay.
we do this, we're
Yeah.
going to talk about the thing with sodium and the thing with blood pressure and the thing with all that stuff, all the real practical ways that we can stay upright.
Okay.
And stay healthy, stay happy, keep everybody around us happy. So just for today, Julia, what do you want to say to people as we're saying goodbye?
Well, what I'd love to say is after we get off this, after you leave us and Robin and I say goodbye to you, I'd love you to just look in the mirror and just really thank your body for still being here. Whatever shape you're in, whatever hurts, because Robin and I are right in there with you. We have a million aches and pains. It's hilarious because one replaces another for the other day. So the really awful one you had yesterday isn't as so bad as the new one you've got today. Just laugh about it and say to yourself, I am so proud of you for being here. I have so much respect for what you've walked me through, and I'm here for you.
Oh, I love that, Julia, because there's consciousness in everything. And every cell of our body, every atom of our body has that consciousness and that light. And when we appreciate it, it just makes everything better. So as always, Julia, thank you so much. And
You're welcome.
everybody who's joined us today, we get to do this again and give you the details, okay, the specifics. But right now, you need to have the attitude adjustment, and that's what Julia's given you today.
Okay.
Thank you for being with us.
Oh, as always, thank you. Love you all.
Bye.
Bye.
Great news, everybody. Our premier hair care product line, Sensationally Silver, is now available on Amazon. You can order it so easily, you can get it so quickly, and you can be so sensationally silver.
Sensationally silver.